ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you?
It's time to flip a coin and find out.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
We're calling it to see who's got the best sports knowledge here on the Coin Flip with Martin Kelly
and Jacob Zimmerman.
Flip it again.
Ha!
27 weeks in the books here on the Coin Flip podcast with Martin Kelly and me, Jacob Zimmerman. Martin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's gonna be another good show here. We got a lot to talk about, man, with the NBA, the NFL. I mean, we've got other sports, man. We got to get into this stuff, man.
Sweet. Do you want to give that rundown?
Sure. Let me do the rundown here. In the NBA, we're gonna react to the All-Star event weekends, the skills competition, three-point contest, the dunk contest, and then we got to talk about the Lakers and the 76ers. Without AD, without Embiid for probably another 2 or 3 weeks as the NBA action is getting back together, and then we got to cover the NFL. Dak Prescott is a made man in Dallas, Texas, as he got a 4-year, $160 million contract. Is he deserving of that contract? And then we got to talk about the Patriots bringing Cam Newton back for a year, $14 million. And then in other sports, we got to cover the MLB. Opening day is almost here. Dixie State Athletics, they are busy this weekend. Las Vegas was the site of the NASCAR series last week. We'll talk about that race, plus Phoenix next week. And then the rant. I got the rant today. I'll talk about something that's going on in the NBA. I'll just say that. That's the only thing I'm going to give away about that one. But other than that, let's get into this NBA. Jacob?
Let's do it.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer! It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger? No! Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it! 3 and 2. LeBron to win the game. He does! He does! The ball comes in. Cody's got it. Above the three-point line, taking a little bit of time. One dribble pull-up. For the win, he's got it! The Lakers win!
McKee gets it in the middle for the win. It's
The two. Wade puts it up for the win. Yeah, baby!
Oh my, we are witnessing one of the great players to ever play in this league. And man, I hope it lasts for another 7, 8, 9 years, baby.
Oh, yeah. The NBA was in action last week. All-Star weekend.
You're not going to say you're 7, 8, 9, 10?
No, I'll save that one for a different day, for a different hour. But nonetheless, NBA All-Star Weekend was last week. The All-Star game, the three-point contest, the dunk contest, the skills competition. I wish there would have been the young game where they have all the first-year, second-year players playing the young superstar game.
That's what they were missing.
Yeah, that's what they were missing this year. But nonetheless, they also had this celebrity all-star 2-on-2 with a bunch of terrible rappers.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, rap music is just in a complete and total spiral. Anyway, back to the NBA here. Jacob, let's cover this right here. Let's start with the skills competition, three-point contest, and the dunk contest. You got a chance to watch all of those. What did you think about them? And was it fun this year or was it boring?
The function of the All-Star game is to get you to watch and get some more media attention around the game, and that's exactly what it did. It got me to watch it with a couple friends and talk about the game during the week, talking to some buddies. Hey, did you watch the All-Star game? What'd you think of it? That's what the All-Star game is for, and you can't really get too mad at what's in it as long as it does that. That's the NBA's point of having it, to try to make money, get the game more popular, get the season more popular. But as for these contests, the dunk contest was pretty lame. Don't need to go too much into it. They didn't have the stars in the dunk contest. I kind of felt like some of the dunks weren't too impressive. As for the skills competition, this one just comes down to who wants to win it the most. The players clearly don't really put much effort into it, and as a fan, that's kind of very cringy. And then the All-Star game itself, I liked the game. I couldn't really get over the fact that it was 4 separate quarters and the score reset back to 0-0 for every quarter. I didn't like that. That just felt really weird. But the game itself was pretty cool. I thought they had a little bit of effort out there, not as much as there was in the year before. But I kind of felt like Giannis was really the only one out there giving close to 100%, as you can see in his box score, going 16 of 16 from the field. That is pretty nuts. But as for that 3-point contest, you might as well name this the Curry contest in a few years, because it's going to get out of hand. Steph Curry was my prediction to win. I think it was your prediction to win as well. Just a really easy prediction to go with it. But respect to Mike Conley for making that one close. But back to the 2-on-2 rapper thing that you were talking about. I didn't watch this, but I saw some highlights on this on Instagram. And I think it was Jack Harlow,
Da Baby. I think it was Quavo.
I don't think it was Little Baby, not Da Baby.
It was like
Lil Baby.
I think it was one of those two.
Lil Baby, 2 Chainz, Jack Harlow, and Quavo.
Yeah, those were the four.
And then Quavo was the best on the team with Jack Harlow. Quavo was the best player, but Lil Baby had no business out there, Martin. Had no business out there.
He has no business behind a mic, regardless behind a basketball court. You're about to get me worked up here.
Oh, we will not go into that, as this is a sports podcast. But
yes.
One day we will have to talk about rap.
You cannot convince me ever. You cannot convince me. Those sport rappers are terrible. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it right there.
But your opinions about the All-Star break, Martin.
Yeah, so sorry, I just had to go off right there. It's just like sitting in my head, man. I'm such a the state of rapping is another day for another dollar. Anyway, back to the 3-point and the skills competition and the dunk contest. I won't cover the dunk contest because I'm covering that in my rant, so I'm gonna save that for the end. But just to say it a little bit is, we're back to the point where it was in the 90s, man, which it was just irrelevant. It was an irrelevant moment to be a fan of the dunk contest in the mid-90s. I mean, Kobe Bryant won a dunk contest, and it was forgettable a dunk contest win because it was his rookie year in 96. So, I mean, it's one of those years. To the skills competition, I told you last week Sabonis was going to win the skills competition, and he did win the skills competition. I like the skills competition because you get to see guards, you get to see forwards, and because of the evolution of the game, we get to see forwards have some ball skills, have some ability to play the game like a point guard. I mean, Cade Cunningham, who's going to be the number 1 pick overall, I think he's like 6'8", and he plays like a point guard. I mean, he just won last night over Baylor, who's one of the top seeds in the NCAA tournament. He had 25 points, 8 and 7 yesterday, which was an impressive stat line for him, considering at halftime he only had 9 points. So he put up 14 points in that second half to beat Baylor yesterday in the Big 12 tournament to go face Texas today in the Big 12 championship. But back to this, the 3-point contest. It was fun, dude. It was fun to watch. Yeah, I knew Zach LaVine wasn't going to win. I knew Donovan Mitchell wasn't going to win, but give credit to Mike Conley. What is he, like 34, 35 years old? And he put him and Steph Curry, who's like, what, 31? Steph Curry's got to be at least 31, right?
Yeah, 31, 32, something like
somewhere, like the old men were taking over yesterday. It was a lot of fun to watch them take over the contest. And, I mean, Steph Curry hitting those, I like the fact that they had him even, those special balls, even further towards the half-court line. That was one to watch because, I mean, he can hit half-court shots with his eyes closed.
They should move those back even further.
We need to see a competition where Damian Lillard and Steph Curry are just hitting half-court shots. Let's see how many they can hit in, a total, give them 20 balls. Who can hit the most in 20 balls? Let's see that. I want to see that. But to the All-Star game, it was fun. I mean, it wasn't a total, it's what we come to expect. It's just, it's a dunk contest, a 3-point contest, meshed into an all-star game. Who can score the most points? Giannis went 16 for 16. You could have gave this to Damian. You could have gave the MVP to Damian Lillard. You could have gave it to LeBron James. You could have gave it to Steph Curry. But
LeBron didn't play in the second half.
He
didn't care.
Still, that's LeBron, but I mean, legitimately, you could have gave it to either Damian Lillard or Steph Curry because they were just going off in the entire contest. But Giannis going 16 for 16 was good enough to get the All-Star MVP. I mean, listen, we said it off break here. If Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons would have been in the game, what could have been different? What could have been different for Team Durant as they were down 3 of their big superstars walking into the All-Star game to begin with? I mean, you add those 3, and I think Team Durant wins possibly by either 5 or 6 points because you gotta think about it. Embiid would have added probably 20, Simmons would have probably added 20, and Durant would have probably added 30.
this is an all-star game. Someone is going to get those buckets. I don't think they would have beat LeBron James' team. You can say that, but they would have taken shots away from somebody else who scored. So, I don't know. It would have been closer, but I don't think the LeBron's team would have won.
But nonetheless, it was a fun contest. Let's move on to the Lakers here. Let's move on to the 76ers. Let's cover the Lakers here first, as reports are coming out that they'll be out with Anthony Davis for yet another 2 to 3 weeks to reevaluate his Achilles, his leg, his whatever's wrong with him. And I'll start by saying this before handing it over to you, Jacob. I think the Lakers are just scared and don't want to put the word out there. But I'm afraid I think Anthony Davis tore his Achilles. I'm betting probably $100 million on this dude, like towards 99%. He tore the Achilles and they're in trouble and they don't have a good backup plan. Am I wrong?
You think he tore his Achilles?
I think he tore his Achilles. They're just not admitting to it.
No, because I think they would say, yeah, he's not going to return this season. They're just saying they're going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks. Anyways, the Lakers are going to be okay without AD, all right? They've been okay. They're the 3rd seed right now in the West. They're going to hang on. LeBron is going to get a chance to strengthen his MVP case playing without AD for these next couple of weeks, as he already has. The West is no joke, though. Here's the next 10 games for the Lakers. The Warriors, T-Wolves, Hornets, Hawks, Suns, Pelicans, 76ers, Cavs, Magic, and Bucks. Key games there are going to be the Suns, 76ers, and Bucks. I think they can go 8-2 in this stretch without AD. That's a pretty good record. That would keep them in their seeding, maybe even improve their seeding. But LeBron, I think this really could add to his MVP case. Strength, playing without AD, still putting up 26, 8-8 about. He's got the stats, he's got the record, and I think he has the narrative as well. But as for the rest of this team, last night, Kyle Kuzma stepped up. They were losing against the Pacers late in the fourth quarter, and then Kuz hit a couple threes, turned it around, and kind of showed that flash that we've wanted from Kuz for these last few years. But I think overall, Anthony Davis's Achilles is not torn. He'll be back in a month.
So the reason why I say this is because the last time we heard about a superstar possibly having a torn Achilles or not having a torn Achilles was Kevin Durant in the playoffs. Now he played in that first round against the Clippers, but we saw him, I think it was one game in the second round, and we didn't see him until the finals, until he actually tore his Achilles on the floor against the Toronto Raptors, where he went 12 points in like 11 minutes. It was just like, whoa. If Kevin Durant would have been in that entire NBA Finals series against the Toronto Raptors, the Raptors are not the NBA champions. No. It's the Golden State Warriors, because they just could not stop Kevin Durant. But I think he tore it, dude. Why they keep like reevaluating him or like re-diagnosing it with like tendinosis or tendonitis, or it's just a strain.
But the situation you brought up with KD's Achilles was not torn in the second round of the playoffs. He wouldn't have gone back out there in the finals with a torn Achilles. He probably nicked his Achilles somehow, tweaked it a little bit. They were saying it was a calf, but I think it had to do with his Achilles itself. Maybe not an actual tear, but tweaked it a little bit. I think that's happening with AD, and they don't want to rush him back because they don't want to see him actually tear it. But AD twisting his ankle is nothing new. He's twisted his ankle throughout his career. I think he's going to be okay if he gets back to 110%.
So just to wrap it up, I think the Lakers are in trouble, dude. I don't know if they have a backup plan, because they don't have a backup plan at center. They have Marc Gasol, who looks like trash, and then they got to go to Montrezl Harrell, who can't play with the bigs down low and gets into foul trouble. And then you're really thin at center on the Los Angeles Lakers. They need a backup plan badly. They can go to I would think they can go to Cleveland, who's got
Martin. There's no backup plan for Anthony Davis.
But why not? That's the point. Why not go get a backup plan?
Is there a backup plan for LeBron James?
No.
Is there a backup plan for Steph Curry? No. There's not.
But why not have a backup plan? I'm telling you, man, if they continue to have without AD, they could possibly fall in the top 5 seeds in the West, dude. This is not the East where LeBron James can carry a bunch of scrubs to the finals and then be low down in the NBA finals or something. This is the West where if they don't have AD in the first or second round, they might be bounced out of the first or second round.
I wish we could be like the Nets and have 2 backup plans behind Kevin Durant.
You know what? Listen. No. You don't get to complain. You're the Los Angeles Lakers. You are the marquee team in the league. You have enough money to go buy players and cut players off your bench to go replace them. That's nothing to have to do with LeBron James. All right.
Speaking of players that are injured, last night Joel Embiid had a scary injury where he came down, kind of falling forward, and his knee kind of buckled inwards as he fell down and planted that leg.
Yep.
And it did not look pretty good. But after the MRI, some good news. No official tear has been said yet. I don't know if you've heard anything.
I haven't heard anything either. I just heard it was a knee injury. So let's paint this question like this. Are the 76ers in trouble without him?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're going to say that about the 76ers. All right, continue.
76ers are obviously in trouble without Embiid because this was Embiid's breakthrough year, and it's a shame the injury had to happen on this season when Embiid was finally looking like that potential that we had always expected that he could have. And so I'm pretty sure I saw a report that said there was no tear on the MRI, but the injury did look bad. I would expect that if there's no tear, he would be back sometime between 2 to 4 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer, and he would miss probably about 8 to 10 games. Now, this would be enough games to where his MVP case would definitely take a hit, and I don't think Ben Simmons leading the way is going to be able to carry that team to the next step. They're going to need to have Embiid 100% for a playoff run if they're going to want to make it to even the Eastern Conference Finals. If Embiid is not healthy, they could get bounced by the Bucks. They could get bounced by Boston. They're going to need to take Embiid's injury very seriously, very cautious, because he is the definite factor on this team. I remember the days where we were arguing, is Ben Simmons the one to keep around or is Joel Embiid the one to keep around? It is without a doubt Joel Embiid is the star on the 76ers. He is for sure a top 10 player in this league. It is a shame to see him go down with an injury, kind of similar to how AD got hurt this year.
So an issue with this is also that Simmons didn't play last night. He didn't play at all, and he hasn't played in the last few games because he was hurt coming into the All-Star break, and he wasn't in the All-Star game either. So the 76ers are in some serious trouble right here. Listen, Doc Rivers has somehow transformed the 76ers into a top caliber team. I don't know how he did it.
They've had the talent.
He just finally got them all to say, okay, we'll all work together. I don't know what voodoo magic he said. I don't know how many cuss words he had to say to Embiid and Simmons. I don't know what he threatened them with. I don't know what happened. I don't know what Daryl Morey said. We do not know what anybody said to Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, but they've been bowling out together this year, and they've gotten their stuff together. Now, to the injuries, this is really serious because the Brooklyn Nets are on the rise, and they're coming hot, and they're coming fast. Like, they are on a mission to go to the NBA Finals and win with this, again, all-star caliber team. The 76ers need both of these guys back immediately, as of, right now. They need that knee to heal up so fast, it's not even funny, because we've seen over time with Joel Embiid, how many times have we seen where he plays great in 15 games and then he gets hurt and then he's out for 20 games and he comes back and he's overweight or out of shape.
Yeah.
And, he plays 20 games and he doesn't look like the old Embiid, and then he gets his stuff together and then they fail in the finals, or not in the finals, they fail in the playoffs, and then we're back to point fingering of, is it Simmons or is it Embiid? Where do we go with this? Is the process dead? Do we need to go back to the process? Do we this is the question the 76ers have, and they hate to see this again because for a blimp for this season, the 76ers look like they finally got it all together. It was this year, and now this happens. So I don't know what you do with the 76ers. They're in trouble. So, all right, let's move on to the NFL. Let's get going.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Sanders still on his feet. Sanders is gone. Far with daylight and time. Goes for the whole thing. Touchdown. Green Bay leads. Brett Favre.
Rice. He's open. No flags are down. Touchdown.
And here's a Taylor comes over the top.
Leon left. No.
DeLow fires to an open Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way. No flags down. Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. He did what?
He did what?
Dak Prescott made a deal.
He did what?
Finally made a deal with Jerry Jones that I thought would never happen, Martin.
Nor did I.
I feel like every week we were hearing about a new little detail, a new little leaked addition to these contract negotiations that had First Take and Undisputed spewing Cowboy Dak nonsense at us for months.
I was waiting for Dak Prescott to go out like Anthony Davis did, which Anthony Davis's middle finger to New Orleans was wearing that shirt.
That's
that said,
all, folks.
That's all, folks. Like, that was his true like middle finger to the New Orleans Pelicans. I was waiting for Dak Prescott to do something like that on like social media and be like, "That's a wrap." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is going down. He's leaving the Dallas Cowboys." But
Dak, Dakota Prescott has always wanted to sign with the Cowboys. Obviously, the numbers were the issue. To talk about the contract, it was 4 years, $160 million, and the first year he is getting paid $75 million somehow. I'm not sure how that works, but he's getting paid a lot of the money at first.
So it's $66 million on signing bonus, which is the largest in NFL history. He got that as soon as he signed the contract. I heard $75 million, but I think it's more like around like $40 million is the first year, and then obviously it kind of trickles down towards the end of it. $126 million of it is guaranteed. So back to your point there.
Lots of money in this deal, as Martin said, lots of guaranteed money. As for Dak, I've said it on this podcast multiple times. If you're the next guy in line, you are going to get paid the most money. It's just how it works. It's how the market works. When Lamar Jackson comes up and it's his turn to get paid, he is going to get paid the most money out of any quarterback. He will probably get paid more than even Patrick Mahomes. But as for, is Dak worth the money in comparison to Mahomes? No, he's not. Maybe going forward, potentially, he could be a top 5 quarterback. He was having a really good season last year. It's a shame that he got his leg all bent sideways. But anyways, the rest of this roster is overpaid, and that's what's really going to hurt the Cowboys now. Kind of what's stealing the shine for me about this deal is it's more about, well, now what for the Cowboys? Because you're stuck with what you got, and last year what you got was really bad, and they're not all of a sudden going to improve. You got the same guys. You got some guys you're way overpaying. Martin, you could name off names all day long about who Jerry Jones has paid the bag to, who's not performing well now. But when looking at this roster and just how they did last year, it's kind of a scary thought because they're going to be booked into all these guys. No free agent. You can't go out and sign these free agents. You just got to rely on the draft. Are you a team that wants to win now? Where is your championship window? Just a lot of questions with the Cowboys coming off the terrible season that they had last year. Obviously, the NFC East is going to be nothing special going forward, but I'm not sure if the Cowboys are going to have enough with this roster and with Dak locked in now to really compete with the rest of the teams in the NFC.
So I think by default they'll be NFC champions. I think we can already guarantee that.
NFC East champions?
They're already NFC East champions. There's no way Daniel Jones. There's no way Taylor Heineke.
Hey, Saquon Barkley's coming back for the Giants. I'm just letting you know.
There's no way Jalen Hurts. There's no way any of those teams are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are already the NFC East champions without us even playing a down of football. And it's just, it's going to be left to the Cowboys whether they let those teams in the division try to win the division or not. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing that we almost had a 6-10 team make the playoffs last year from the NFC East. So I don't know how much worse it can get than that. But back to Dak Prescott. Yes, he deserved this money. It's $160 million. He saw what Carson Wentz got. He saw what Jared Goff got. He saw what Patrick Mahomes got. And I'm not a hater, but I don't know if Lamar Jackson deserves all that money either based on his playoff record. I mean, it is what it is. That's where the market is going. This is all set up because Jay Cutler and Joe Flacco got $100 million contracts when they were not deserving of that money at all. I mean, you saw Russell Wilson get paid. You saw Aaron Rodgers get paid. But everybody's pointing towards Tom Brady, who's taking $10, $15, $12 million contracts. But none of them are married to DeJelle Buntis, who's one of the most richest models in the world, who outgains money than their own husband. Back to the Cowboys. This is since the deal's gotten done, now it's in Dak Prescott's corner of you. Now that I paid you, you got to show up. But this is also have to do with Jerry Jones because he overpaid for Ezekiel Elliott. He overpaid for Amari Cooper. He overpaid for Tyron Smith. He overpaid for Zach Martin. He overpaid for DeMarcus Lawrence. He overpaid for I can name off more players on that roster who's overpaid, and because of that, they're in a cap hole, and they got to find a way to get out of the cap hole. And I don't know where they go with this, but Dak Prescott did deserve the money. 2-time division winner. He's gotten the Cowboys to the playoffs. Can he get them to the NFC Championship for the first time since 1995? We'll see, because you and I weren't even born. Nobody was even thinking about having kids by the time 1995 came around with you and me, but nonetheless, we'll see what happens with the Cowboys. Let's move on to Cam Newton here, your former quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Got another contract by the New England Patriots, 1 year, $14 million. Jacob, what the hell? Why is Cam Newton getting another contract in the NFL?
Well, he's deserving of another contract in the NFL. He's not a scrub. He's not an XFL player now, but
he's done.
Here's what I'm going to say about Cam. Cam is just not as likable now. I don't know.
I don't know if it's not likable. It's just
for the past 5 years, he's cared more about his image than his performance, and that's very obvious. Just looking at him and looking at his social media and all that stuff. But point is, the Patriots, I don't know what their direction is. I don't know why they signed him back. I have no idea. I feel like the Patriots are just stuck in no man's land with no direction. Either tank or either try to win. I guess that's what they're trying to do, is keep winning. But I think Cam realized this was going to be maybe one of 2 or 3 teams that he was going to be able to start on. And he decided just to keep starting in the NFL. He wants to have that platform, obviously. I think he's still a good quarterback. Some games he's going to look terrible. I mean, there were some games last year, I don't think he broke 100 passing yards. But there's some games as well where if you get him in open space, watch out. Cam could break for a big gain, have some really good games, have some really good moments in those games. But it's kind of sad to see Cam's career kind of slowly fizzle out. I guess that's better than it just coming to a complete halt. But nonetheless, happy for Cam that he's getting a little bit more money, but kind of confused at the Patriots' direction here.
So I'm not a hater. I know you're a Carolina Panthers fan. I'm not hating on the Carolina Panthers whatsoever. I think
Cam was the best player in football. Was that's the emphasis right there. Was in 2015 the number 1 player in the NFL, the Superman, the jumping over the pylons, the dances in the end zone, and then we can totally forget about Super Bowl 50. That doesn't even exist in existence. There's a reason it's called Super Bowl L.
Yeah, it was just a total mess of a football game, but nonetheless. Back to Cam. I think this is more of an insurance for the New England Patriots, but this is a pretty expensive insurance to have as a backup. I think they're trying to go after Jimmy Garoppolo, but I don't think they're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they could possibly get Mac Jones in the NFL draft because they're around those teen numbers. Cam Newton's just a backup option for them, and I don't hate it. It's a good backup option because I don't remember the last time, besides Jimmy Garoppolo, the New England Patriots had a good backup option to begin with when they had Tom Brady, because you didn't need a backup solution when it came to Tom Brady. But nonetheless, where I point to this is, it's just sad to see Cam Newton fall to these heights. I mean, the number one player in the NFL in 2015, the best player, the MVP, and I'm not trying to stick one to you, but Greg Olsen retired, Luke Kuechly retired, and then I'm trying to remember the other person that retired with Greg Olsen the other day.
Thomas Davis.
Thomas Davis, which I don't know if you ever heard his story before. It's a damn good story because the dude tore his ACL 3 damn times and still came back and played in the NFL and played more than 10 years in the NFL. A person that tears their ACL 1 time just gives up on football to begin with. Someone that tears it 3 damn times in the same damn knee, dude, the gods are against you. But he came back. Thomas Davis, Greg Olsen retire. I don't know why the Bears traded Greg Olsen, but you're welcome. You got yourself a Hall of Fame.
Oh, that was such a great gift.
You got yourself a Hall of Fame tight end. But back to Cam,
you.
I think it's like the pieces around the Carolina Panthers in 2015 are starting to retire. Michael Orr retired. Luke Kuechly's gone. Greg Olsen's gone. Thomas Davis is gone. Steve Smith is gone. Everybody that's a Carolina great is almost gone. And Cam Newton's the only one left. Cam is the only one that's relevant. Not even Josh Norman is relevant in Washington. He got paid.
The year Josh Norman left Carolina was the year Josh Norman fell off the face of the earth.
Completely. Everybody from that era is gone. And Cam Newton's just hanging on to wherever he can have left. And it's sad to say, Mitchell Trubisky is a better thrower than Cam Newton right now. Trubisky can at least throw 25 yards through. Cam Newton can't even throw more than 15. That's how bad his shoulder is.
Oh, man.
And I know that's...
Me and you need to somehow get Mitchell Trubisky and Cam Newton to get together on some grass field and have a little throwing skills competition. Go back and forth. We need to see who really is the better passer because I don't know about that.
And that's a pretty hard one to say. So anyway, I think it's insurance right here. I think it's just insurance, but it's a pretty expensive ass insurance for the Carolina Panthers. All right, let's move on to the other sports.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. And the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores. There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes! With Canerco up, and he rips one in the left. Canerco, grand slam.
Let's talk about some other sports here on the Coin Flip Podcast. We'll start with the MLB. Opening day is on April 1st. Top teams, I think, are going to finish in the divisions in the NL. I think it'll be the Braves in the East. The Atlanta Braves are the better team in that one. The Chicago Cubs will win the Central, though I hate them so much. And then the Los Angeles Dodgers, the defending champs, will win the NL West. It's going to be interesting to see in the NL West. To me, it'll probably be a 4-man race for the NL Central with the Cardinals, with the Brewers, with the Reds, with the Cubs. That's a death spiral division right there, minus the Pirates, who are just downright terrible. Yikes. In the NL West, it's the Padres, it's the Dodgers. Those are the 2 best teams because they spend basically almost $1 billion on contracts and team and player salaries. I mean, seriously, dude. The Padres have spent north of $500 million on player contracts, and so have the Dodgers. They've combined to spend over $1 billion on player contracts.
Kind of goes to show, the richer the owner you have, the better chance you have of winning a chip.
Yeah, the MLB is terrible at not putting in a hard salary cap in to help the small market teams whatsoever. For the AL Central, I think it'll be the Chicago White Sox. I think they are the better team. We'll see how the Cleveland Indians and the Minnesota Twins do. For the AL East, it is the New York Yankees, another team that can spend $1 billion on team contracts. And then in the West, it's the hated Houston Astros. They'll win the division title again, minus George Springer. They still have Carlos Correa. They still have Jose Altuve. They still have plenty of bats on that team. They still have plenty of pitching staff, so they'll come back and win that one. Let's move on to Dixie State Athletics here. Volleyball team split a series between Tarleton State this past week. They lost the first one, but they came back to win the second one. 3-0. Their next series and final series will be on Monday against Chicago State in the Burns Arena here. The women's soccer team finally got their first win on the road as they'll be playing Chicago State today for Game 2. They beat Chicago State 4-0 with Whitley John Griffith scoring a hat trick and in that win 4-0. The men's soccer team is there on the road today at Utah Valley. They lost to California Baptist 5-0. And then the baseball team continues to struggle, continues to lose. They got whopped yesterday 17-3 against New Mexico State. Just another brutal loss. They got a 2-game series against them today and another game tomorrow. So hopefully, maybe one day they'll get a win. They will get a win. They are a better team than that. And then finally, the softball team will be playing against Southern Utah, Boise State, and Weber State in the Dixie State tournament this week. The football team will be going up against round 2 against Tarleton State today at Greater Zion Stadium. Their first D1 home game in Greater Zion Stadium after they lost 36-29 last week to New Mexico State. I still don't know why you didn't go for it on the 4th down and 2. It was your opportunity to win the game.
Martin, no one's going for that.
I am. Okay, whatever.
For that football game, though, that was a disappointing game for Dixie State. Coming in, they kind of had the odds in their favor to win that game. And when New Mexico State gets blown out by Tarleton and you beat Tarleton, and then you face New Mexico State the next week, it is assumed that you are going to also blow out New Mexico State. But that was not the case, as really the only difference between the first and second game was the defense. The offense looked pretty good once again, putting up 29 points and then 26 in week 1. But that defense giving up way too much on the ground game. That is unallowable. You cannot allow like 300 rushing yards a game and like 200 in the first game. That's not okay. No matter how good your secondary is, if your front 7 or front 6 is not cutting it, it's not going to work. And we just saw the time of possession slip away from Dixie State last game. First down after first down. They couldn't stop the run at all. Couldn't stop the bleeding. They need to fix that against Tarleton State today. Martin, you're going to be on the call for that, right?
Yes, I will.
I will be board-opping that game in the ESPN studio for ESPN Radio 97.7.
Yeah. So, again, they should have gone for it on 4th down and 2. I don't care what anybody's got to say. That is the game right there.
You don't go for it from your own 20 with 2 minutes left.
Yes, you do. You go for it. You get the first down. You move the drive. You go kick a field goal. You get the hell out of there in Texas, and you win the football game. You don't hand it off to the other team that had just been driving it down for 5 or 6 minutes, killing the clock with a short offense and run game. You go for the win.
I'd be really disappointed if I was Cody Wilstead or Quali Conley because they both played really well. Wilstead had a pass. Remember that 3rd down, right before that 4th down you were upset about? It was a drop. I forget who dropped the ball, but it was an easy completion, and they dropped the ball. That would have really helped out Dixie State. Probably pushed that game to overtime, if not a Dixie State win. But that drop was really, really crucial. Quali Conley had a great 70-yard reception the drive before that got them back in the game. It looked like Dixie State was out of it, but they came right back and tied it. But unfortunately, couldn't pull away the win. We'll have to see what they can do. They can do against Tarleton State today.
Yep, it'll be game 2 today against Tarleton State and Dixie State at Greater Zion Stadium. We'll have that game live here on Radio Dixie 91.3. Finally, let's talk about NASCAR. Kyle Larson got his first win in 4 years in the NASCAR Cup Series last week at Las Vegas. Second was Brad Keselowski. Third was Kyle Busch. Fourth was Danny Hamlin. And fifth was Ryan Blaney. The next race for the series will be at Phoenix International Raceway this week. Last time this race series was there, they were racing, and Chase Elliott won the championship and the race. Congratulations to him still on winning his first championship there. We'll see what happens. My race winner is going to be Kevin Harvick. He's got 2 wins at this track. He's usually a pretty good racer at this 1.5 mile racetrack. He knows how to get in the groups. He knows how to race it up and down the track. So we'll see about it. Finally, let's hit that rant button. Let's go.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
The one, the only, the rant.
Oh, you're about to go blasphemous.
Fighting a scorpion, and that is final.
Will you two shut up?
when we're done talking about the rant. Here on the Coin Flip with Martin Kelly
and Jacob Zimmerman.
All right, let's get into this rant here as the NBA's had yet another lackluster NBA All-Star Slam Dunk Contest with Farnyard's. What's his name, Jacob? The dunk contest.
The contestant, the winner.
Yeah.
Anthony Simons.
Anthony Simons.
Most people would say Anthony Simmons.
Anthony Simons won the dunk contest. Who you may ask, who the hell is that? And I asked the same question last week. Who the hell is that? And he's the first Portland Trailblazer to win the dunk contest ever, and I'm still having questions of who the hell is he? Where did he?
Not even the best dunker on his team is Derek Jones Jr. is on the Portland Trailblazers.
What was it? Hamano Diallo from Hamadou Diallo from the Oklahoma State Thunder won it a couple years ago, and he just got traded yesterday to the lonely and desperate Detroit Pistons for a second round and a non-existing player on their bench. So I pray for him because he's going to go to the Detroit Pistons, which are a very terrible basketball team as of now. But back to the dunk contest. Listen, we're falling into the same damn traps we fell into in the 90s, which was the 80s. We were spoiled. We had Spud Webb. We had Dominique Wilkins. We had Michael Jordan. We had Kenny Smith. We had a bunch of dunkers in the 80s, just light it all up all over the place, dunking it and slamming it down. And, the pose by Jordan inside the inside the free throw line and all that type of stuff. Like, it was impressive to watch. And in the 90s, I can't name you more than, besides Kobe Bryant, who won the dunk contest. Like, Jacob, can you even name, 5 NBA All-Star dunk contest winners from the 90s besides...
From the 90s?
Yeah.
No.
You can't even name more than one besides Kobe. That's the only one I can think of from 96.
Who's... wasn't it in the 90s that dude who, kind of did the dab?
Yeah, I think
covered his eyes.
I think that was Sean Kemp or somebody.
Oh, it wasn't Sean Kemp. It was another bench player.
That's how relevant it was. And then
Yeah.
obviously we had Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady light it up in 2000 and re-energize the dunk contest. We had Nate Robinson and we had Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, and we had some good dunkers in the 2000s to light up the dunk contest. And then in the 2010s, we had Blake Griffin, we had Zach LaVine, we had Aaron Gordon. We had some lights out dunk contests in the 2010s. And to start off the 2020s, it is just downright just terrible. I mean, listen, it's either time for the NBA to get rid of the dunk contest and make the three-point contest the marquee contest of the All-Star weekend, or you fix the dunk contest. You find superstars. You find legendary players that are going to throw it down like there's no tomorrow. Please, to the love of God, NBA owners, stop being a baby and saying, I don't want my players to get hurt during the dunk contest. They're worth $100 million. I want my players. Please let me get John Moran, Anthony Edwards Jr., and Zion Williamson to throw it down. Please let me get Derrick Jones Jr. back in the dunk contest. Please, to the love of God, let me get these dunkers back. Please. I don't care, what was it, on ESPN 97.7 with Anthony Thompson. We were doing a remote, and he was talking about, what if we got a bunch of, YouTuber dunkers to, start dunking in the contest?
That's what I was saying.
We need to get, those guys to throw dunks. That is...
3v3, Zion, Morant, and Anthony Edwards versus... whoever you want to find off the street. Jordan Kilgannon, if you've seen him.
I don't know. I don't care who it is off the streets. I don't care if it's a 5-foot dude off a trampoline. Can he at least do some more creative dunks than just blowing a candle at the top of the rim, or just touching the top of the rim and then slamming it down, or whatever Obi Toppin brought to the dunk contest was boring, and it's just it was nothing, dude. I missed the dunk contest being that marquee matchup, man.
Obi's a power dunker, which doesn't really help in a dunk contest, to be honest.
Just NBA, please, can we get a better dunk contest? That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. Or make the 3-point contest a more marquee matchup. Make it a half-court shot contest. Make it something, man. Like, you got to find a way to make it better. That's all I'm saying.
I'd go for a half-court contest. Yeah.
I don't know what the NBA has to do, but that's my rant there on
the rant on the Coin Flip podcast, episode 27 in the books.
It was just to wrap it all up. It was an interesting All-Star together, wasn't it? Like it was just fun to watch because it felt good to have the All-Star break back. We were talking about, like, I think 2 or 3 weeks before it, like, maybe we weren't going to have the All-Star event. Maybe LeBron James wasn't going to go, or the players going to be safe. What's going to happen with the event period? Like, we were able to have everybody be safe, be okay. Everybody was all right. LeBron James was LeBron James. Why he didn't play in the second half, I don't know. Do you know?
I don't know, but it wasn't really missing anything. You had plenty of other stars out there. So.
True. I mean, it is LeBron James, supposedly. And not supposedly. Listen, he is the best player in the game, but I don't know about his Lakers right now, man. They're in trouble. They're in some trouble. Trouble. Trouble.
Remember this moment in June.
You know what? I will remember this moment in June. And when I bring it up in June and I have to play it back and I say trouble, and you're going to be like, damn it, he was right. And you were wrong because there's no backup plan to Anthony Davis because you don't have any centers.
All right.
This is what you get when you cut Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. I'm just saying. Right. Anyway, that's the Coin Flip Podcast, everybody. I appreciate you guys listening to us. It'll be immediately podcast afterwards. Go find it on YouTube as well, the Coin Flip Podcast. Start listening to it. Love y'all guys. Peace.